Charlie.
Let's talk.
It's the right talk.
Charlie?
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
And welcome to the program today on your Tuesday afternoon. We appreciate you tuning in on this. What looks like we're going to have a little bit of rain coming up this afternoon, so be aware of that as you're driving home this afternoon. Well, I tell you what, today, now I know that you guys, and I feel the same way, I really do, have a little, some questions about Pam Bondi. Because I was just talking with somebody in the hall, and they were like, man, I want to see somebody go to jail. I want to see somebody go to jail. Well, what we're hearing is that Jim Comey could be happening, so to speak. Of course, he's going to bond out, but there's going to be a formal arrest coming up of Jim Comey in just a couple of days. That is going to be pretty interesting because it really will be kind of like the first actual arrest from Pam Bondi because of all of this stuff that's been going on. But not a whole lot else. A lot of accusations. A lot of you guys did this, you guys did that. We know you were involved in this, that, and the other thing. And then, but who's going to jail? Now, I agree with you 100%. I want to see some of these people, especially now that we know what we've known about Operation Arctic Ice, that the mainstream media will not report on. Everything we know about Joe Biden, we've got more information about Joe Biden and him spying on United States senators. We know about that. Also, there's more information about Joe Biden and his cover-up regarding his son, Hunter Biden, in Ukraine. That's unbelievable. So we got all of this stuff going on, and people are like, and then everybody's like, where's the Epstein files? Okay. So where are the arrests, Pam Bondi? Where's everybody going to jail? Well, I would like to see the same thing. But Pam Bondi was testifying before the Senate in Congress today. And I don't know who they are used to dealing with. But they have seen, I don't think they've ever seen anybody talk to them the way that Pam Bondi did. She unloaded on Adam Schiff today. I mean, she gave him both barrels. Let's take a bit of a listen here.
An oversight hearing when dozens of prosecutors have been fired simply because they worked on cases investigating the former president. This is, and now
what
the current president.
What about the fires in California?
And
Do you
this
care
is
about that,
supposed to
Senator
be,
Schiff?
this is supposed to be an oversight hearing in which members of Congress can get serious answers to serious questions about
are the riots in LA serious?
About the cover-up of corruption, about the prosecution of the president's enemies. And
I think you owe the president an apology.
When will it be
Your entire career,
that the members of this committee on a bipartisan basis demand answers to those questions and refuse to accept
Clearly you're a failed lawyer because you don't understand when someone can and cannot answer a question.
Refuse to accept personal slander as an answer to those questions.
She's just eating his butt up. She had him for breakfast today. But Adam Schiff wasn't the only one. Not the only one. Oh, my goodness. I mean, she was tearing him up.
Senator Klobuchar, I'm not going to discuss personnel decisions, but the personnel issue that I'm having right now is that all of my agents, all of my lawyers are working. My agents are on the street working without a paycheck because your party voted to shut down the federal government.
Oh, Nelly. Oh, and if you don't think that's good, it gets even worse. Then we had old Dick Durbin and his rant. Let's listen to this.
You're going to have to answer for your conduct in this. And you won't do it today, but eventually you will. I yield, Mr. Chairman.
I got
Mr. Chairman,
something here.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr.
Mr. Chairman, since Senator Durbin referred to me, I would really appreciate the opportunity to correct the record.
This is Marsha Blackburn.
Senator Durbin knows I repeatedly asked for those flight logs. I brought up the subpoena. You even shut down the committee because you didn't want that, and you know I submitted that in writing, and you continue to misrepresent that, and I am not going to let that record stand.
Okay.
Good for her, because Durbin was, I mean, he was one, no, don't release all the logs except the ones that I'm on. Don't release the logs that mention me. Don't release any of the files that mention me. That was Dick Durbin. But maybe Dick Blumenthal took the brunt of it today on Capitol Hill. Listen to how this went, and then we'll go back and we'll play just a little bit of a clip of why this whole thing happened.
I can finish answering the question. I'm not going to be lectured to you about integrity by someone who lied about being in the military just to be elected a senator.
Okay, so what was all that about? Lied about being in the military. Let's go back and remember Dick Blumenthal.
And a big U.S. Senate race in Connecticut got blown sky high today when the leading Democrat in the race got caught in a lie over his military service. Richard Blumenthal, who is the state attorney general, has said in the past he served in Vietnam. He did not. He served during Vietnam. The New York Times reports he received 5 wartime deferments, and he served stateside in the Marine Reserves. Today, Blumenthal said he misspoke.
I will not allow anyone to take a few misplaced words and impugn my record of service to our country.
Problem with that is there's videotape of Blumenthal saying he was in Vietnam.
Yes, there is videotape, and we have it right here.
We have learned something very important since the days that I served in Vietnam, and you exemplify.
We have learned something very important since the days that I served in Vietnam. That was it. Now, let's all remember this. Remember this. Dick Durbin, Stolen Valor Dick, is one of Lindsey Graham's good friends. He and Lindsey Graham just not long ago went to Ukraine together. Oh, that must have been I don't know if you like those buddy films out there, but I bet that was a great buddy film between Dick Durbin and Lindsey Graham as they travel over the Ukraine hand in hand. Unbelievable. So Pam Bondi really lighting them up in Congress today. Now, Pam Bondi, we've seen that you are a bulldog in these oversight committee hearings. Now let's see what sort of a legal bulldog you are. Let's start seeing some people go to jail for the crimes that they committed, not only against the former president and now current president, but crimes against the American people. That's what we're really looking for. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
15 minutes of breaking news and stimulating talk begins every hour, every afternoon on the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas. Tap and type your message on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line.
800-905-0989. This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
You folks know that I'm a very big fan of everything that President Trump has done during this administration. But there's something that I don't like, and it's not directly his fault. Okay? It's not his fault, but he has accidentally given rise to a new phenomena out there, and we've seen it several times now. We saw it with Kilmar Abrego Garcia. We saw it with ICE. We've seen it now with all of this stuff. We've just seen it. Because now under this administration, all of a sudden, these owls, the old white liberals, believe that they can sing. And so they gather together with their gray hair, and they start singing whatever made-up songs they have, and they're not really good at it. Let's just go back. This is for Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
Kilmar is our neighbor. You can't have him drunk. No! Kilmar is our neighbor. You can't have him drunk.
They're terrible. They really are. I mean, this is stuff nobody asked for, right?
Took back what he stole from us. Took it back. Took back our dignity. Took it back.
Oh my gosh.
Well, we went down to the rich man's house and we took back what he stole from us.
Holy mackerel. They get worse, don't they? They just get worse. And remember this is Hank Johnson. Remember this from Hank Johnson? This might be the worst one of all.
Just recently picked it up.
Here we go, yeah.
Trump, where you going with that gun in your hand?
Oh my gosh.
I'm going down the street and shoot down democracy.
That's Hank Johnson with a badly out of tune guitar. Badly out of tune. This is another one for the ICE crackdown. Somebody needs to send that woman emergency help. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's. Oh boy! All right, okay, there you go. That was good. And then do we all remember this one? Do we?
No, we say no, we say no, we say no, we say no. Fascism's got to go. Don't trash the Constitution. All right.
Oh my gosh, that's more of them. But now there's a brand new one out there. They're out there singing again. Let's take a listen to these folks. These are the Owls. This is the Owl Band, the old white liberals.
This land is my land.
I don't get it. I swear I don't get it. I've never said. Is there an age? Maybe there's an age that you just hit this certain age and go, you know what? That made me so mad. I'm gonna go buy me a ukulele, and I'm gonna go down to the Peace Center right there at the corner of the Peace Center, and I'm gonna play my ukulele in the pro. Yes, right. JJ reminded me, we got to go to Unity Park. That's the only place you can do that is Unity Park. We're gonna go to Unity Park. I'm gonna get my old white friends together, and we're gonna go sing. We are going to throw in some Negro spirituals, as they're called out there. We're going to do that, and we're going to sound pathetic. What in the oh my gosh, they're horrible. Charlie, I thought Hank Johnson asked about the island tipping, not now Jimi Hendrix is flipping in his grave. You're exactly right, Charlie. Please stop. Please stop. They are dreadful. They're absolutely dreadful. I don't know where that comes from. I really don't. I don't know what, because they have to get together, and somebody's got to have an idea. You know, they got to have an idea. They go, I got an idea. This is going to get them. This is going to get them. We're going to get together and we're going to sing, and that's going to change everything. No, sorry, Charlie. It's all the greenies and the other drugs the hippies did in the 60s coming back to roost. There you go. Yeah. Charlie, that's Obama's band. It's called the Martha's Vineyard Quartet. Isn't it right? That's the absolute truth. And here's the thing, though. Whenever I go up to New England, up to Rhode Island and Connecticut to go visit my mother-in-law, I mean, we see these people. They're out there, man. And you can just tell. You can just tell by the way they dress and the way they look, and all the women have that haircut that's exactly the same haircut because it's easy to manage. You don't have to worry about it. So there you go. Charlie, they want a criminal as their neighbor. Absolutely they do. It doesn't matter if you're a criminal. It doesn't matter if Kilmar Abrego Garcia was a human trafficker, which he was. Doesn't matter if he was a wife beater, which he was. Doesn't matter if he was, he was an illegal alien, which he was. Doesn't matter any of that stuff. None of that stuff. Everything is fine. We want that guy as our neighbor. Because why? Because he's Hispanic. And he's as But let me tell you another little thing about all of these folks, all right? Let me tell you another little thing. The only reason, because when I go up to Rhode Island, I'll see these signs on occasion. There'll be a sign out there go, Black Lives Matter. My wife will go there. We might be up there for 3 or 4 days, a week at the most. And they have these signs that say, Black Lives Matter. And I'll sit and I'll think, where, first of all, where are these black lives that you were talking about? Because when we go to Westerly, Rhode Island, which is where Taylor Swift has her house, we don't see any black people there. There are none. They're not walking down the street. They're not downtown. They're not in the bookstores. They're not in the coffee shops. They're nowhere to be seen. And the only Hispanics that we see when we go there, you know what they're out there doing? They're trimming the hedges. That's it. That's all we see. So all of this is just a bunch of hypocrisy, more hypocrisy from these people on the left, which they are full of that. Charlie, just more proof that the Democrats are good at nothing. You're exactly right. Let's go to Matt in Greenville and talk to him. Matt, welcome.
Charlie, I had a comment on that Hank Johnson Guam flipping over thing.
Yeah.
You missed the very best part of it.
Okay.
Which is the admiral that he's talking to.
No, it was like...
What Hank Johnson said is not that funny.
Yeah.
What is hysterically funny is the look on the admiral's face.
Yeah.
When he's telling him that he's worried that Guam is going to tip over if they put too much equipment on it.
Exactly, yeah, and too many people. And the admiral was trying to be so respectful.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
He's there to testify. And the look on the admiral's face is hysterically.
It really is. You're exactly right about that, Matt. I appreciate it, buddy. Hey, Charlie, remember, they don't want Hispanic neighbors in Martha's Vineyard. So Ron DeSantis put a bunch of illegal aliens on a bus and sent them up to Martha's Vineyard. Now, remember, Martha's Vineyard is supposed to be one of these sanctuary communities. Wink, wink. Wink, wink. Yes. Here at Martha's Vineyard, we are a sanctuary community, and everyone is welcome here. Right, Buffy? Oh, yes, right. So they get up there to Martha's Vineyard, and they're like, oh, dear, we can't have these rapscallions around us. Let's do something about it. Those illegal aliens were in and out of Martha's Vineyard in about 36 hours. They got there. They weren't welcomed into their home. They weren't welcomed into their community. They weren't welcomed at all. They were welcome to get the heck out of there. Let's go to Gene in Greenville. Well, first we'll go to Bob in Spartanburg. Bob, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
You actually beat me to the punch. That was going to be my point. You said that all the owls and the awfuls and that type of person want the Hispanics to be, for neighbors. No. They don't want them to be neighbors. They want in their neighborhood. They want to force them into my neighborhood and your neighborhood.
Yeah.
But they don't want no part of them in their neighborhood.
You're exactly right. What is it, NIMBY? Not in my backyard? You're exactly right. Let's go to Gene in Greenville real quick. Gene, how are you?
You ruined my night by playing that song. Okay?
Uh-oh. This
You
land
ruined
is
it.
made for you and me.
Do you know the composer of that song?
Was that Arlo Guthrie?
No.
Oh, okay.
I believe it was a guy named Pete Seeger.
Okay,
Pete
yeah.
Seeger was a wealthy Massachusetts boy. Went to Harvard University. He majored in music. And if you can, look up pictures of him. He died, I think, around 2013, in his early 90s. And he was a self-styled Lenin. He tried to look like Lenin, okay? Vladimir, you know Vladimir Lenin, right?
Yeah, I was about to say John or Vladimir.
No. Oh, my God. My, I am showing my age.
Yeah.
It's Vladimir. And, with the hat and the beard. And he would go to every peace rally, every college campus with his banjo and his Johnny Appleseed bag. And he would sing My Land, Your Land. He would show up to all these union protests. I believe he even wrote a bunch of, union songs.
Yeah.
Down with the people, man. I'm rich. I grew up rich, but I'm down with the people.
Exactly right. And we see that all the time, Gene. I appreciate it. Got to hit a break here. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
You're locked into the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Chat with Charlie.
800-905-0989. Save it on your phone.
This is the Charlie James Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Let's go to the WORD talk line. We'll talk to Gerald in Cowpens about the Owl Choir. How you doing, Gerald?
All right, my friend. Now, Charlie, if you think the old white liberal choir was bad, wait till you hear the music at the halftime show at the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, they got Bad Bunny there who's telling everybody if you want to understand it, learn to speak Spanish in 4 months. I don't know. This is probably going to be the least watched Super Bowl halftime show in history.
All right, buddy, take care of yourself.
I appreciate it. This is just ridiculous. And the only reason is because I don't know what the heck's going on with the NFL. I really don't. I have no clue whatsoever. But then again, to be honest with you, the NFL could go away tomorrow, and it would probably be 4 months before I even noticed it. I haven't watched an NFL game literally in decades because I knew they'd gone woke. I knew they were just, absolute garbage. So, and they continue to show exactly why. Exactly why. So, well, if you are planning on traveling, you need to know something. This Democrat government shutdown is affecting air travel. Here is Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy over on Fox News.
They work 6 days a week, right? So we don't have enough control, so they have to work overtime. And they're family people, right? This is their living. They're concerned now if they don't get their paychecks. How do I pay my mortgage? How do I pay my car payment? What do I do to put food on the kids' table? So the controllers yesterday were saying, we actually have to think about working 6 days a week, and then do I go out and take an Uber job and try to make extra money to put the food on the table? All because Chuck Schumer is trying to have this political fight instead of saying, let's do a clean CR, let's open the government up, let's have a conversation about what Democrats want to talk about, but do that over the course of the next several months. Don't shut it down and affect our airspace, our controllers. Again, it's a huge problem. And again, Burbank, 0 controllers came to work. I don't support that. They should come to work. They're supposed to come to work. But they didn't miss a paycheck yet. So why aren't they coming to work? It's only been 6 days. So, the paycheck, the pay cycle ended yesterday, right? Their paychecks come next week, and they see what's on the horizon, Brian. They're like, listen, do I see a resolution to the shutdown? I don't see it. So guess what? I'm concerned about my own life, my own family, and what we do is say, again, I want people when they travel to get to where they're going.
Yeah, and he's right about that. Now, Polymarket has said, and that's the betting website, they have said that the chance of the government shutting down before the 15th is about 22%. I'm sorry, the government opening back up before the 15th is about 22%. The government opening back up after the 15th through I think maybe the 21st that week, that's about 73% on the voting or on the betting odds. So, this is going to hurt a lot of people. But there are people out there that are taking credit for it. Bernie Sanders is one of those.
On the subsidies, though, so you mentioned the subsidies and then an agreement on no more rescissions. There are other things that are in the Democratic ask. It's a 68-page proposal, I think. Should they cut all of the rest of that and just say those two things?
I think you got to negotiate. You're not going to get everything you want. But bottom line, again, I don't mean to be overly repetitive. We have a broken healthcare system. Everybody knows that. And Trump is not wrong when he says the system is not working very well. But he is making it far worse. And honestly, as the former chair of the Health Committee, I worry very, very much that he could literally collapse the entire system. We don't have enough doctors right now. Who in the world is going to want to become a doctor in the midst of all of this? We pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs, for healthcare in general. Our life expectancy is lower than other major countries. So we have a system deeply in trouble. He is taking it to the verge of collapse. We cannot allow that to happen.
So he goes on to say that this is the only leverage they've got. Keeping the government shut down. Air travel put in danger. Health care put in danger. But I noticed something about Chuck Schumer the other day. Chuck Schumer posted something, and he was talking about health insurance. This is not about health insurance. This is not about health insurance. I've got health insurance. If I get sick, if I get hurt, I go to the doctor. What do they ask me? They ask me for my insurance card, and I provide it to them. This isn't about health insurance. This is about paying for the health care of illegal aliens in this country out of the money that we give the health care system. That, and you want to talk about a broken system? That's the broken system, Bernie Sanders. The fact that my premiums have gone up, the fact that my deductible is sky high, the fact that if I go get a Band-Aid at a hospital, it's going to cost me several $1,000s. That's the problem. And those are the people that are driving all those costs up. They drive up the cost of health care. They drive up the cost of housing. They drive up the cost of insurance. They drive down the wages. That is just a fact. And for these people to get to sit up there and do what they are doing, shame on them. They are sacrificing the American people. They are sacrificing those air traffic controllers in Burbank and all over the country. For what? Illegal aliens? Who, if they left, they would be replaced by American workers? So it goes to show you, and by the way, and we all know the whole healthcare system is broken, but what is the only way that they decided to fix it? With more health insurance. It wasn't about insurance. It should be about the cost of healthcare. They do the same thing with college education. We've got to forgive these student loans. No, why don't you go, if you want to drive down the cost of healthcare, why don't you go to these hospitals, some of these big conglomerates in the healthcare industry, and say, hey, why don't you reduce? Hey, wait a minute. How did you build that big, gigantic, wonderful, beautiful building? What money did you get from that? How did you get all that cash? Oh, I got it. Yeah, I see. You got it off the people that pay from insurance. I'm telling you, healthcare in this country is a scam, just like the whole college loan program. That's also a scam. Another scam by the Democrats has to do with this judge in South Carolina whose home burned down in Edisto. We'll have that story for you coming up next. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
A native Georgia bulldog who bites back at big government. It's the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9
WORD, the voice of the Carolinas. Interact on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line.
800-905-0989. Text or call. One number does it all.
800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
It was Saturday that Judge Diane Goodstein's home burned down in Edisto, and that was a big deal. It was a big, nice home, caught on fire, and immediately, these folks on the left started to try to blame it on Donald Trump, on the MAGA movement, when there was no evidence whatsoever that anything like that caused the fire. Well, here's Nicole Wallace over at, of course, MSNBC.
When we come back, what we're learning about the fire that destroyed the home of a South Carolina Circuit Court judge who faced criticism from Trump officials after a ruling she made against the Trump administration. It comes amid a surge in hostility and threats against judges, as well as criticism directly from the Trump administration, including for Judge Goodstein, after she temporarily blocked the Justice Department from accessing the files of millions of registered voters in South Carolina. Mary McCord is still with us. Mary, what questions do you have based on what we're hearing so far?
You know, this is the kind, again, we've talked today already about crossing Rubicons, right? And when you're starting to attack judges because of their rulings, we're in a very, very dangerous position in this country. And it is.
Wait a minute. Didn't they just give a very light sentence to the man? Yeah, I know they say he's a woman, but to the man that tried to assassinate Brett Kavanaugh, 8 years in prison for an assassination attempt of a Supreme Court judge? Went light on that person because they were trans? Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure we had our facts straight here.
It makes judges fearful. It makes prosecutors fearful, as we know. It makes others in positions where they could be criticized by Donald Trump fearful.
Now, fearful. Now, weren't they going out in front of Supreme Court justices' homes to try to influence them and intimidate them into voting against doing away with Roe v. Wade? Yeah, I remember that too. Yeah.
And he needs to know the power of his voice and how people respond to that. We've been saying this for years, Nicole, but like, if this is what this turns out to be, some sort of politically motivated act of domestic terrorism, then, you know, the importance and significance of the things that Donald Trump says about a person just, again, will be demonstrated in this instance.
Okay, so there's a lot of people that are calling for Nicole Wallace to be removed from MSNBC, but don't look for that. Don't look for that, because this is what MSNBC does. That's their whole raison d'etre. That's their whole reason for being, is to do stuff like this. So, what has SLED said about this? Statement from the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division Chief Mark Keel. At this time, there is no evidence to indicate the fire was intentionally set. Oh, okay. Gotcha. SLED agents have preliminarily found that there is no evidence to support a pre-fire explosion. I urge citizens, elected officials, and members of the press to exercise good judgment and not share information that has not been verified. But boy, that fell on deaf ears over at MSNBC, because that's what they do. They always have to blame us, no matter what. Now, when you get somebody like the kid who tried to assassinate President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, and that radical ideology, the nut job that tried to assassinate President Trump down in Florida, when you get the kid that, you know, etched pro-trans sayings on the cartridges in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, when you get the anti-ICE etchings on the bullets from the guy that shot up the ICE detention center, then you can make the leap. Then you can at least put, you know, a couple of dots together in the big picture. But there were no dots to put together in the fire that happened at Judge Diane Goodstein's home. No dots whatsoever. But that's where they went. Now, we'll see what happens with the full investigation. But there's got to come some sort of a time when the media needs to be held accountable and responsible. But that's only going to come from their leadership at MSNBC. And we know they're not about to back down because they support people like Nicole Wallace 100%. That is completely okay. But again, they always try to point the fingers immediately at us on the right. This is you guys doing it because Donald Trump told you to do it, therefore you. Meanwhile, you've got everybody on the left villainizing ICE agents. So when you get these people, these nut jobs, these Antifa folks out there in Portland and in Chicago more recently, and they're surrounding ICE agents and they're threatening them, they're running them off the roads in their cars, they're committing hit and runs, they're committing outright assault. How come their rhetoric is never called into question by the people on the left? Because they agree with it. They agree with that rhetoric. How come J.B. Pritzker is not to blame for the assault on ICE agents have gone up over 1,000% in the past couple of months? Over 1,000%. How come nobody on the left is toning down their rhetoric, but we have to? Because that's just, again, you only have to tone down rhetoric that the left disagrees with. That's it. WRRD Talk Line, 800-9050-989. That's also the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line. We'll take a quick break and be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Tough on issues, sharp with facts. It's the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9
WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Charlie.
Let's talk.
It's the right talk.
Charlie.
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
America is back.
Yes, sir, and we are back despite what the Democrats are trying to do. So they are holding America hostage. This is a Democrat shutdown in Washington, D.C., and our next guest is a guy that would like to be in Washington, D.C., fighting against the Democrat. We've got candidate Paul Dans, who is running for the Senate here in South Carolina. Paul, welcome to the program. Hope you're doing well.
Charlie, great to be with you.
Thank you, sir. Does it boggle your mind exactly what these Democrats are doing right now in the Senate in Washington?
This is their playbook. You know, I was the architect of Project 2025. We set that program in motion, particularly to counteract what these guys, their natural impulse is. You know, this is an old playbook, try to shut down the government, extract, free health care for illegals. But, I salute the president for holding fast on this one. But this is part of the ongoing battle. This is what I've been doing the last 6 years, really making sure our side is going to fight. And I think President Trump and his team are rising to the occasion.
Yeah, I think Mike Johnson is, and they're all holding fast, and I do agree with that because they want $1.7 trillion in new spending just to make sure that air traffic controllers go back to work and that our soldiers get paid, right?
Yeah, it's a terrible position to be in. Obviously, the question, though, we even need to back up is why are we here in the first place? Why can't we pay our bills? And it's my opponent, Lindsey Graham, who's been in Washington 30 years, who racked up $30 trillion in debt. That's why we're having a problem making these kind of monthly payments, if you will, on the U.S. credit card. But the Democrats, they're taking advantage of it, and it's coming, it's threatening the safety of Americans now. We do, though, need to put our money back to work at home. This is the sort of thing Senator Graham, spends $300 billion in Ukraine. How about we pay the air traffic controllers and fix South Carolina roads while we're at it?
There was you talked about Ukraine. There's a new study that came out. CIA just released some documents that said that Joe Biden was actually trying to stop an investigation in Ukraine against his son, Hunter Biden. I don't remember Lindsey Graham saying anything about that.
He doesn't say anything about a lot of things, right? This is the guy who is actually the architect of the Russia hoax. He visited Ukraine with his friend John McCain in 2014. He actually kicked off this whole war. So, Ukraine is a slush fund. It's a Democrat playground. It's a uniparty playground. And it's going to be interesting. We're going to get to the bottom of Lindsey's role in the whole thing and a number of other things. This is a deep state operative. We have to take the Senate seat back for the people of South Carolina. Rip it from the hands of the deep state.
Well, we know what's not being done. I really like what is being done. How is this all fitting in with the whole Project 2025 playbook?
Well, the great news is President Trump President Trump rather embraced Project 2025 last week. He really kind of recognized the fact that 80% of what's being done in this second term of Trump almost comes directly out of the work. Look, Project 2025 is something I created and led from the Heritage Foundation. Ultimately, 110 conservative groups came together to prefabricate policy and personnel so the president could roll out exactly the way he did. But, having that as a guidepost, as a North Star, has really made all the directions of the Trump campaign move out in this last 8 months. So I'm gratified to see it. That said, the work continues. The headwaters of this swamp are the United States Senate and people like Lindsey Graham standing in the way. This is a man who's trying to upset the peace, right? He wants to turn Gaza into a parking lot, nuke them. He wants to restart the war in Ukraine when President Trump's trying to bring peace. This is a man who's at every juncture been working against President Trump. And strangely, President Trump has him in that inner circle. The best thing we can do for world peace is actually get him out of President Trump's ear and return him to South Carolina.
We're talking with Paul Dans, who is running against Lindsey Graham for the Senate. Polls said that 65% of South Carolinians want somebody new in that Senate seat. What are you guys hearing in your campaign?
We're getting great polling in. Look, we had polling in last Tuesday that had Senator Graham well down into the 40s, right? That's catastrophic for a sitting senator. My numbers doubled. We've only been at this now for a month and a half. My numbers doubled, put me at 22% and rising, and Mark Lynch falling down to 4% from a height of 10. So the race is shaping up. This is the actual swamp drainer, a guy who's fired bureaucrats. I've been fighting for President Trump for the last 10 years. I helped him get elected at a time when Lindsey Graham was calling him all those nasty things, telling Donald Trump to go to hell. And I've been fighting for him all the way down the line. And when I was in Georgia fighting in the 2020 election aftermath, I said, we're going to make sure this never happens again. And we got together and built Project 2025 to make sure that the conservatives could flood the zone. That's exactly what President Trump's doing. So if you're happy, with all these things he's rolling out, giving back pay for soldiers who were forced to take the jab and decided to quit, or deconstructing the Department of Ed, going after these universities and threatening their endowments, all the way down the line, the Paris Climate Accord, going after the endangerment finding, all these critical things that Biden did to basically bring this Marxist revolution and deconstruct our great country. We built a system to overcome it, and I'm very pleased. But that, to be sure, was born here in South Carolina at my own kitchen table. So I'm taking that work and my track record back to Washington. I'm a guy who's actually been in the trenches there fighting for years, and I'm one of the most effective MAGA operators there is in the whole country.
So how do people find out more about Paul Dans, maybe help you out with a little financial contribution or something like that?
Sure. Go to pauldans.com, D-A-N-S, pauldans.com. Chip in, sign up. We have we're having great events. We were in Antigua Cay Thursday, great crowd. Spartanburg Saturday, Furman University, triple header ending in Pelzer that night. And we're just out with the Patriots in Hilton Head last evening. So we're really getting the grassroots coming behind this campaign. There's a lot of excitement. This is going to happen, folks. Keep the faith. We are the best shot there's ever been to take this guy out, and we're only climbing. So pauldans.com. Support us, sign up, learn more about it. We'll come see you. Ask us to come and talk to your group.
Yeah. All right. Paul Dans running for Senate against Lindsey Graham. We appreciate you calling in. We'll talk soon. Thank you, sir.
Charlie, pleasure. Thank you.
Take care. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
15 minutes of breaking news and stimulating talk begins every hour, every afternoon on the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Charlie Speaks. You listen on your time. Get the show on demand. Text podcast to 800-905-0989. The Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
I told you folks about a year and a half maybe into the Biden administration. I said, you mark my words. We're going to find out that this is the most corrupt administration that we have ever had in Joe Biden, and I am being proven right on a daily basis. I want you to go back. Let's just go back, jump in the Wayback Machine for just a minute, and go back and remember when Joe Biden said this.
I have never once, not one single time, suggested to the Justice Department what they should do or not do, relative to bringing a charge or not bringing a charge. I'm honest.
I'm honest. I have never once told the Justice Department what to do. I'm honest. Oh. And what did the mainstream media do? Oh, Joe Biden, I'm honest. He's honest. He's honest, ladies and gentlemen. He's honest. Did you hear that? He's honest. Turns out he wasn't so honest. In fact, John Solomon has got the receipts of Joe Biden's dishonesty. Let's take a listen to this.
It's a major development. You're taking a look at a letter right there that was just sent to the FBI Director Kash Patel and the Attorney General Pam Bondi. What does it say? It says that Congress has obtained evidence that shows that the Biden White House was directly involved in trying to help start Jack Smith's investigation on the January 6th probe against President Trump. Specifically, that the White House counsel's office secretly obtained President Trump's and Vice President Mike Pence's former phones and giving them to the prosecutors, basically sicking the Justice Department on his future competitor, his future rival in the 2024 election, so that they could look for dirt for possible crimes. There's a lot more coming in. There's a lot of other evidence as well of the White House involvement. Remember, 2 years ago, we were the first news agency, right here, Real America's Voice, Just the News, to report that a White House counsel was directly involved with this investigation. Now, more details, including getting, imagine this, you're the Democrat president and you go get the old Republican's phone for your prior president and send it to the Justice Department. That's what Senators Johnson and Grassley were able to confirm tonight. It's in that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm honest, not very honest. And then let's go back a little further back and remember when Joe Biden said this.
And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a got fired.
There you go. So why was he there? Well, there's a newly declassified memo that shows, and this is from Daily Caller, newly declassified memo shows that then Vice President Joe Biden's office intervened to prevent the CIA from circulating a 2016 intelligence report detailing how top Ukrainian officials viewed his son Hunter Biden's business dealings in the country. The report, released today by CIA Director John Ratcliffe, compiled reactions from senior Ukrainian leaders following Biden's December 2015 trip to Kyiv. It revealed that Ukrainian officials were concerned about what they described as the Biden family's corrupt, quote-unquote, business ties, but Biden sought to keep the assessment under wraps. I just spoke to VP NSA, and he would strongly prefer that the report not be disseminated. Thanks for understanding. That, according to the Vice President's presidential daily briefer, whose name was redacted, that according to a memo that was sent to the CIA. During the 2015 visit, Biden pressured then-Biden Petro Poroshenko to fire the country's top prosecutor, Viktor Shokin, threatening to withhold, as you just heard, the $1 billion in U.S. loan guarantees unless Shokin was fired. At the time, Shokin's office was investigating Burisma, the Ukrainian energy company where Hunter Biden was on the board of directors. Officials within the Poroshenko administration privately mused about U.S. media coverage of Hunter Biden's business ties and saw them as evidence of a double standard in Washington's approach to corruption. These officials viewed the alleged ties of the U.S. vice president's family to corruption in Ukraine as evidence of a double standard within the United States government towards matters of corruption and political power, the intelligence report says. Intelligence officials determined that the information met the criteria for dissemination at the time it was collected, but it was withheld from distribution at the request of the vice president's office. Ukrainian officials also expressed bewilderment and disappointment at Biden's visit, noting that he seemed to have come to Kyiv almost exclusively to give a generic public speech and had not had any intention of discussing substantive matters with Poroshenko or other officials within the Ukrainian government. And I'll read to you from that part of the file. After the visit, these officials assessed that the U.S. vice president had come to Kyiv almost exclusively to give a generic speech and had not had any intention of discussing the substantive matters with Poroshenko. The only reason that Joe Biden went to Kyiv wasn't to give a speech, wasn't to talk about anything of any great importance. The only reason that he got on Air Force Two and went over to Ukraine was to make sure that Shokin was fired. That was it. He wanted that to come from him. He wanted it to come from Hunter Biden's father to show the muscle that they had. That's the only reason he did it. He could have done that by phone. That could have been done with a phone, email, secure server, whatever. But he went there personally to flex his muscle and influence as the vice president of the United States. And they fired Shokin because Shokin was looking into Hunter Biden's business dealings at Burisma. All of this stuff's coming out, y'all. Now, is the mainstream media going to talk about this? No. No, they are not. They're not going to even mention it. They're going to pretend like this didn't happen. And now you've got even more. You've got Joe Biden and his FBI spying on senators, elected senators in the United States Congress. That's pretty amazing. So what is this like? According to Fox News, it's like McCarthyism, anti-communist witch hunts, loyalty oaths, and blacklist silence dissent. CIA and FBI surveillance, Operation Chaos, targeted civil rights and anti-war activists. And then, of course, you've got Watergate, Nixon's political spying and misuse of federal agencies. That's exactly what Joe Biden did. In fact, that's pretty much all he did. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Hitting truth bombs longer than he drives off the tee. It's the Charlie James Show.
News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Genetics, and it's certainly not.
Let your fingers do the talking.
Text the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line at 800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
All right, welcome back to the program on your Tuesday afternoon. Well, President Trump is doing something. We all know that this is a Democrat shutdown, and you really, nobody, even the mainstream media, they've got to be choking on their own spit when they try to blame the Republicans for this shutdown. It's not their shutdown. The House passed a clean resolution. Send it to the Senate. There is no additional spending. There are no spending cuts. This was the same spending that the Democrats voted on weeks ago. Nothing has changed except for this. Adam Schiff voted for the big, beautiful bill. No, I'm sorry. Chuck Schumer voted for the big, beautiful bill. The one bill over in the Senate. Chuck Schumer voted for the one big, beautiful bill. And that helped get it passed. And since Chuck Schumer did that, people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and others on the far left wing of the party, they've been coming down hard on him, and now he's starting to feel the heat. So he's got to act like a tough guy now. He's got to act like a tough guy, and he's got to do something about it. But it's hurting the American people. It really is. But this president is doing something about it. Because one of the programs that is quickly running out of money is the Women and Children's Food Program. President Trump and the White House have announced that they are going to do something about this. Let me just tell you what that is. Here's an announcement over there on Fox News. Here we go.
Just breaking moments ago, more than $200 billion coming into the coffers in tariffs, and now we're learning where some of that money will go. The White House has just announced that the Women and Children Food Program will not be cut off while the government is shut down. Some of the money will go to make sure that that program is kept up and running, according to White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. We will see you back here tomorrow with more of the story.
So, that's not going to run out of money. Thanks to who? Thanks to Chuck Schumer? No. Not Chuck Schumer. Thanks to anybody over on the Democrat side? No. That is going to be kept open because of President Trump. Period. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I am getting a lot. I'm getting a lot of bang for my buck or my vote for President Trump. And I love the fact that he is standing tall on this thing. And yes, in case anybody's wondering, this is what I voted for. I voted for the National Guard to go into Portland. I voted for the National Guard to go into Washington, D.C. I voted for the National Guard to go into Chicago and clean up those streets. And here's what the mainstream media is not telling you. The people that live there, and I'm not talking about the owls and the activists and the awfuls and all of that stuff. I'm talking about the residents of those towns, of those cities. They like it. They're very happy about it. They want it to happen. Get those criminals off the streets. That's what they want. But President Trump is delivering, and Harry Enton over at CNN, he kind of had to, again, choke on his own spit over this report.
Is Trump doing what he promised in the 2024 campaign? Yes, 52%. The majority of Americans say that Donald Trump is doing what he promised compared to 48% who said no. So what essentially is going on here is the voters expected all of this from Donald Trump. The majority did, and that is why his favorable rating, simply put, has not really moved all that much compared to where it was a year ago. Trump is basically doing what the American people thought that he was going to do. Indeed, if you look at the numbers, Trump has basically the steadiest favorable rating this much through a presidency of any president on record, and it's basically where he was a year ago. Good enough.
Yeah, absolutely. The majority of Americans, we're not talking about a majority of Republicans. We're talking about a majority of Americans say that Donald Trump is doing what he said he was going to do. And he absolutely is. Now, is the mainstream media ever going to give him a fair shake? No, we all know that, but you got to expect that. That's part of the game. They're always going to come down and deny. But even on occasion, CNN has got to, when the numbers are out there, they've got to report them. So, I mean, that's where we are. The only person that has done anything to help. Okay, how long have we been in a shutdown? Has it been 6 days now? 6 days? Are we at 6 days? Something like that? So, the only person that has made a move to help anybody in America is not Bernie Sanders. It's not Chuck Schumer. It's not Schiff. It's none of those guys. It's not Klobuchar. It's Donald Trump. And he's the guy that is keeping the Women and Children's Food Program up and running. You think the mainstream media will give him any? No, of course not. No, I know we're being silly on that one. Charlie, have they proved that the judge's house blew up by a bomb? No, they have not. In fact, they have proved just the opposite. According to SLED, they're talking about Judge Diane Goodstein down in Edisto when her house went up on fire on Saturday. SLED has come out with a statement that said there is no evidence of a bomb, and there is no evidence that that fire was intentionally set. Those are the preliminary findings there. Charlie, your thought on on Trump charging Obama with treason? You think Obama would do any time in prison? No, of course not. No, I don't. But I do think you can impeach people posthumously, and I don't know if that's the right word, after they're out of office. But if you just look at all the people that were arrested under the Joe Biden administration, Trump, Nauta, Oliveira, Bannon, Navarro, Barrack, Grimes, Giuliani, Meadows, Eastman, Chesebro, Powell, Ellis, Hall, Still, Schaefer, Latham, Clark, Cootie, Cheeley, Floyd, Lee, Smith, Roman, Ward, Boyer, Cottle, Hoffman, and the list goes on and on and on. But how many people have been arrested during the Biden administration? Anybody want to know? Yeah. Or during the Trump administration? None. Well, we've had Jim Comey got indicted, and that was it? We'd like to see a heck of a lot more. So, Pam Bondi, as tough as you were in front of the Senate today, in front of that oversight committee, that's how tough you need to be. Because we're finding out that not only Joe Biden, but Barack Hussein Obama, their administrations were unbelievably corrupt, dirty and rotten to the absolute core. Now, if you think the liberals are losing their minds now, wait till you hear what's coming. We'll tell you about it next. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Honest views, trusted news. This is the Charlie James Show
On News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
One number does it all.
800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
All right, welcome back to the program. Let's go to the WRD talk line. We'll talk to Gene in Maysville. How you doing?
Doing great, Charlie. Love the show.
Thank you, pal. I appreciate it.
The only thing is, I listen to all this talk.
Yeah.
My dear wife passed away about 3 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
She was 89. She says, all I want to do is live long enough to see justice served.
Yeah.
And she didn't make it. Well, I'll soon be 93, and I feel the same way. I want to live long enough to see service, see these people held accountable.
Yeah.
And I hope I'll live long enough to do that.
Well, from your lips to God's ears, I hope you do too. I mean, but it's hopefully it's coming, Gene. Hopefully it's coming.
Yeah,
I appreciate
do
it.
too.
All right, buddy.
Thank you so much, Charlie, for your show. I listen every night.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Gene. Let's go to Jeff in Townsville. Jeff, what's up?
Hey, Charlie, I fully agree with your comment that Obama would never see jail time.
Yeah.
Which, if we put all these politicians in jail, all that's going to do is cost us more money anyway. We need to take away every perk they ever had, take away their benefits, take away their pension, take away their security details, and put them back out on the street where they belong.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. No. If you're found guilty of all of that, no perks. I mean, we got to do it. We got to do it to Comey. We got to do it to Christopher Wray. We've got to do it to Brennan and Clapper and everybody that was involved. You're absolutely right, Jeff. I appreciate your phone call. Do away, all of that. Make them go away as if they never existed. And I don't mean, disappear them. I mean, just say, look, no, you don't get a pension. No, you don't get all the perks. You don't get any of that stuff. Oh, Secret Service detail? Nah, sorry. Remember, it was the Democrats that wanted to strip Donald Trump of his Secret Service detail. They were the ones that actually started all of that. Okay? Now, if you think the Democrats have lost their minds, they're really losing their minds over this. They haven't had a whole lot of time to really ruminate over it too much because they've been dealing with all of this information about Biden and Hunter, the CIA and the FBI spying on sitting senators, all of that stuff. The United States Mint is looking at making a commemorative coin for the 250th anniversary of the United States. Now, remember, I said a key word there. I said a very key word. I'll get to that in just a second. This coin would feature I love the way they're doing this. I really do. It would not feature the sitting 47th president of the United States. It would feature the former 45th president of the United States, Donald John Trump, on the front. And on the back, it would have that iconic picture of him raising his fist in defiance, saying, "Fight, fight, fight," with the American flag in the background. And Democrats are losing their absolute minds over it. How can you have a coin? How can you have a coin? Over at it's CNN. Jake Tapper was talking about it.
$1 commemorative coin for the U.S.'s 250th birthday. U.S. Treasurer Brandon Beach shared draft images of the coin, and it bears the image of the current president, President Trump. This despite the fact that an 1866 law enshrined in U.S. code says a living person cannot be featured in U.S. currency. This is obviously dates back to concerns about wanting to avoid the appearance of a monarchy. Is President Trump planning on changing that law?
Right. The fact is that we've got great plans for the 250th anniversary.
$1.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. It's not a coin. I mean, it's a coin, but it's not a coin. It's a commemorative coin. And back in 1866, they didn't make any stipulations about commemorative coins. We've seen commemorative coins struck by the U.S. Mint all over the place. I mean, heck, it used to be you watch television on Sunday, and they were all, these new coins minted by the United States Mint feature yada, 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 and blah, blah, blah. They are commemorative. You don't have to have them. They're not going to really go into circulation. You're going to have to go get them. but they are losing their minds over it. I hope it's big. I really do. I hope it's a big, I hope it's the size of a silver dollar. Because then I'm going to go get me a silver dollar belt buckle, and I'm going to put that coin in it. I don't know if you know what a silver dollar belt buckle is. It's got a hole in it. It's a cowboy belt buckle. You can get them different shapes, squares, oval, whatever. And it's got a hole in it where you put a silver dollar in that belt buckle. And you can clamp it in there, and it stays in there. If they do this, I'm going to get me one. I'm going to go get me a silver dollar belt buckle, and I'm going to wear that thing. Oh, my God. I'm going to go get 100 of them. You think I'm joking? I'm going to take a $100 bill, and I'm going to get me 100 Trump coins just to know that every single time I get one, it's going to drive the Democrats nuts. It's going to drive them crazy. Yeah, that'll be. I will use one of those as a ball marker when I play golf. That's what I'll do. Sheila and I already have a Trump coin. It was like, it's a coin. You can go buy coins of anything. So we bought one of those Trump coins to help out the Trump campaign. But this one's going to be an official U.S. Mint coin, but it is commemorative, and that is going to be the operative word there. Charlie, make it the size of a dinner plate. Could you imagine that? Big old giant thing there. There you go. Oh, my goodness. Charlie, I agree that politicians need to be punished by removing some of their privileges. I don't think removing pensions and benefits is going to do anything. These criminals have become independently wealthy already. Yeah, you're probably right about that. But we will see. But again, can't wait to get one of those coins. All right, we've got some races coming up here in South Carolina. Before you know it, they're right around the corner. When we get back, we're going to be talking with Diane Mitchell. She is running for South Carolina House District 21. We will have that. And also when we get back, young men are now turning to artificial intelligence for girlfriends. Ladies, you might have some competition out there. WORD Talk Line, 800-9050-989. That's also the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Streaming stimulating talk and breaking news on your phone 24/7 on the Odyssey app. You're on the drive with the Charlie James Show.
News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Hey, Charlie.
Let's talk.
It's the right talk.
Charlie.
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
And welcome back to the program. It may not seem like it, folks, but we are in an election season. Early voting has started for the House District 21 seat, and Election Day is coming up quickly, October the 21st. Joining us right now is a candidate for that seat, Diane Mitchell. Diane, welcome to the program. Hope you're doing well.
Hey, Charlie, thank you so much for having me. And yes, I'm doing well. A little wet and a little steamy out here after the weather this afternoon.
Absolutely.
From knocking doors. But yes, I am doing very well. Thank you for having me.
So what was the decision? What was the final point where you sat down probably at the kitchen table with your family and said, I'm running, I'm in this thing?
Well, that's a great question, Charlie. And I ran for a couple of reasons. One, because I was asked to run. I didn't put my name in out of the blue. I had people that recruited me to run, people that have been in the State House in the trenches, and they have seen me there with them. They trust me, and they wanted me to be there with them because they need another strong person in the State House. So I have also been involved in the last, 10 years, but mainly in the last 5 years with Republican Women, where we decided that we would actually use our power that we have as citizen lobbyists to go down to the State House and lobby for bills we thought were important. And most citizens don't realize how much power they have if they actually get in the car and go to Columbia and have a presence in the State House. There's so many paid lobbyists in that group that when citizens actually take the time to go down there, the legislators kind of perk up a little bit. So we've been down there testifying and advocating for whether it's Save Women's Sports with Ashley Trampton's bill or keeping transgender surgeries out of the taxpayer dollars for that, tort reform, protecting women's spaces, judicial reform. We went down for health freedom, and we were in the lobby or in the gallery the day they passed the Scout bill, but we had put a letter on every single desk of every senator and every House member to please slow down this process and let's think about this before you pass this in a matter of 10 days. So because I've been involved like that and because I was asked to run, we decided to go for it.
And I always say, if you want something talked about, tell the Republican men. If you want something done, tell the Republican women, because you guys get out there and you get organized and you go out and you really make a lot of change. What are some of the biggest issues that you're seeing right now coming out of Columbia?
Well, I don't know about the ones coming out of Columbia, but the ones I hear at the door are roads and bridges.
Yeah.
People are so frustrated with that. And I think we have a problem with our funding, for one. And it's not really a matter of money because it's really, I think we have enough money. It's where it's allocated. And also, I think we have a problem with, we have designated so many roads as state roads, and that happened a long time ago, that we need to slowly get our roads redesignated back to the county, and that's going to take time, but that's where they need to be closer to the people so that the counties can slowly take over the management of that. I hear roads and bridges. I also hear taxes.
Yeah.
And the fact that they want to eliminate the income tax. And so in order to get there, though, we've got to cut our spending. And there are a couple of ways that we can do that. We can, number one, at least tie our budget to population and inflation. If we had done that, the increase would be much less each time. They would have a limit they would have to go to. And then we need to freeze spending and audit all of our agencies. That has not been done in a while. We have a couple of legislative agencies and 2 executive agencies that actually are in charge of holding the people accountable for what they spend, but they're either not doing their job or they're not being listened to. And the last thing we can do about that is follow zero-based budgeting. We have a law that requires we zero-based budget, but we haven't done it since 2009. So I have a bill ready to go that would reenact the Zero-Based Budgeting Act and actually require that it be done and put the responsibility for that in the governor's office. That's the problem, I think, with the previous bill is that they passed it, but nobody was in charge of making sure that it happened.
And so that just kind of amazes me that we've got that balanced budget here in South Carolina, but they don't follow it. I mean, who's going to hold them responsible?
Exactly. That is what is so famous, I think, in Columbia is they pass bills that either are the weakest bills possible or ones that there's no teeth in them anywhere. So that's what we got to fix.
So how do you feel about things that I know a lot of people talk about, closing the primaries? I mean, is that an important issue for you?
Oh, it definitely is. In fact, closing the primaries is what brought me into the party back in 2010 when the Tea Party first started. There was a guy here in Greenville who had a lawsuit. He had done a lot of work on doing research on what the actual percentages were of people, Democrats that vote in the primaries, and then they vote the Republican primaries and then vote Democrat in the fall. And that lawsuit ended up not going anywhere, which was very frustrating. But yes, closing our primaries is really, really important. In fact, at the forum last night, I had seen this guy on Instagram, and he was a Democrat. He was touting the fact that he was going to get Democrat votes into the District 21 race. And he was just going to have to figure out which one he was going to vote for, and he would let his Democrat buddies know. And I spied him last night at the candidate forum.
Wow.
And I called him out for being there. Why are you here? Because if, as a Democrat, go run your own primaries, go find your own candidate, run on your ideas, and stay out of our primaries. Now, there are two bills down in Columbia that are for primaries, and one of them is weaker than the other.
Yeah.
And the Josiah Magnuson, Mike Burns, and I think April Cromer have championed a bill that I think the number of that one is 3310, and that's the one that we want.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking with Diane Mitchell, who's running for South Carolina House District 21. And everybody's going to want to know, how conservative are you, Diane? Are you going to get to Columbia and all of a sudden you're going to take the mask off and be one of these, wishy-washy Republicans like we've seen and get amnesia?
Absolutely not. And, that's what separates me from all the other people that are running in the race. All these guys that are running, they're nice guys, but they don't have a track record. I have a track record. You can look and see what I have already advocated for in Columbia. I am a strong conservative. I'm a social conservative. I'm a fiscal conservative. And I've already shown that I will stand strong. You never know what it's like until you stand in a Senate testimony room being outnumbered 70-30 with people that are against you, especially when we were testifying against the transgender surgeries for that were being paid for by taxpayer money, or the Save Women's Sports bill. When you feel the hate and the heat in that room, you know whether or not you got it and you got a backbone strong enough to keep going, because it's intense. It is a very intense situation, and in that situation, I put God's word in the public square, and despite the hateful stares and despite being outnumbered, I stood strong, and you can count on me for that. And I'm the only one that has a record that can prove it.
Were the stares coming from the Democrats, which there aren't many in Columbia? Were they coming from the Republicans?
They were coming from the people that opposed, that wanted to have men and women's sports.
Yeah. Does it bother you when we've got leadership in Columbia that puts radical Democrats in Senate subcommittee chairmanships?
Absolutely. We have a supermajority in the House. We should not have any Democrats in any committee, any subcommittee leadership positions.
Absolutely. I agree with it 100%. All right, so how can folks find out more about Diane Mitchell and maybe help out a little bit?
Oh, I would absolutely love that. We are coming down to the wire here, and this race will be decided by a very few number of voters. This race doesn't have a buzz right now because the sheriff's race in Spartanburg County had a buzz because there was some scandal involved.
Right.
And this, we're all good people over here. We haven't created a scandal, so there's no noise about that. So we really need people to get out and take a look at us. You can find me at Diane Mitchell for House on my Facebook page. And then I have a small website. This is Money Talks right here.
Right.
I have a splash page which gives my background, which is Mitchell for House. My Facebook page is mostly the way I'm getting things out.
All right, sounds good. Diane Mitchell running for House District 21. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, Charlie.
Take care. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
15 minutes of breaking news and stimulating talk begins every hour on The Charlie James Show. Afternoons 3 to 7 on News Talk 98.9.
WORD, the voice of the Carolinas. Charlie Speaks. You listen on your time. Get the show on demand. Text podcast to 800-905-0989. The Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
And welcome back to the program. Let's go to the WORD talk line. We'll talk to Chris Rice in Spartanburg. How you doing, Chris?
Good. How are you, Charlie James?
I'm great. Great. What's up, man?
Yeah, coming up next Tuesday on October the 14th at the Beacon Drive-In in Spartanburg, South Carolina from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. Upstate Conservatives will be hosting Alan Wilson at that location. He'll be coming to speak and giving the public an opportunity to meet him and ask questions.
All right, that sounds great. Beacon Theater, October the 14th. Alan Wilson
The
will be
Beacon
there.
Drive-In.
Beacon Drive-In. What time is that, did you say?
4:30 to 5:30 p.m.
4:30 to 5:30. All right, buddy. We appreciate it. Thanks for letting us know.
Absolutely. You have a good one. You
Thank
take care.
you. You too. I'm about to admit something I'm ashamed of. I've never been to the Beacon. I've never been. I feel like I need to go. Do I need to go? I think I need to go. I should go there. I mean, it's famous. It's like world famous, isn't it? It's famous. So, love to do that. Well, there you go. So, all right, I have to go to the Beacon. I hadn't done that. Oh, by the way, somebody sent me a text today. And they said, are stink bugs bad where you are? Now, I have found that to be ironic because I just read a story today that we have got a stink bug infestation in the upstate because of the fall weather that we're starting to have. Apparently, these stink bugs are everywhere. So you guys be careful out there. And they do stink, man. When you squash them, ugh, what a horrible smell. So call those exterminators, get them out to your house, won't you? So there you go. All right, so what's the big deal? What do the Democrats really want to pass the Republicans' continuing resolution? Well, they want $1.5 trillion, and that's a great deal of money. And one of the other things that they want is to extend the Obamacare enhanced premium subsidies. Now, they're supposed to expire in December. All right. So now the Republicans argue, hey, let's pass this continuing resolution, and then let's talk about it over the next several weeks and see what we can come up with, because this CR is only going to keep the government open for 7 weeks, which is ridiculous, really stupid. It's only going to keep it open for 7 weeks. Let's talk about this, and then maybe we can bring it up in the next one. No, not good enough for the Democrats. They want it done now because why? What's coming up very, very soon? You've got all of those open enrollments going on with your healthcare providers. So they want to get it done before that happens, okay? Well, there's an opinion piece over at the Wall Street Journal. It was written by Gay Bai. That's the name. Gay Bai is the person that wrote it. And Gay Bai talks about whether or not to let the COVID era Obamacare premiums expire at the end of 2025. These are costing us $400 billion over the next 10 years. $400 billion. And they have enticed, this is according to the article over at the Wall Street Journal, they have enticed higher income Americans into unaffordable plans and distorted insurance markets. They belong in the dustbin of history. Affordable care premium subsidies were originally available only to people with incomes up to 400% of the federal poverty level. In 2025, that's approximately $62,600 for a single person, $128,000 for a family of four. The Treasury Department transfers taxpayer funds directly into the insurers to cap enrollees' premium contributions at a certain percentage of their income. In March 2021, at the height of the pandemic, the American Rescue Plan temporarily extended premium subsidy eligibility to those with incomes above 400% of the federal poverty level, allowing people at any income level to receive subsidies originally intended for those with modest means. In August 2022, the Inflation Reduction Act extended those subsidies through December of 2025. So what does this really mean? All right. A family of four in Arizona making $600,000 a year, over $500,000 a year for a family of four, is eligible for these subsidies. A married couple in West Virginia making $580,000 a year are eligible for these subsidies. An individual in Vermont making an income of $180,000 a year, they're eligible for these subsidies. You see why the Republicans want them out? Premiums, and by the way, the Affordable Care Act has never been affordable. That's only been the government paying for it, us. Premiums have increased nearly 80% since 2014 and more than doubled since 2011. They're going to rise another 15 to 20% next year. Despite record taxpayer spending on premium subsidies exceeding $130 billion annually, enrollees still pay an average deductibles of $5,000 in out-of-pocket maximums, deductibles of $5,000, out-of-pocket maximums $21,000. So, I think it's time we let the extended subsidies go to the dustbin of history. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
15 minutes of non-stop breaking news and stimulating talk jumpstarts every hour on the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9
WORD,
the voice of the Carolinas.
up and type your message on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line.
800-905-0989. This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Even the Washington Post has come out with a story talking about how unaffordable the so-called Affordable Care Act is, and that's one of the provisions that has really shut down this government. Joining us right now is Congressman William Timmons. Congressman Timmons, welcome to the program. Hope you're doing well.
Charlie, good afternoon. I'm doing as well as I can given the fact that we've shut the government down, and I say we. The Democrats have shut the government down, and
exactly.
We're sitting here trying to do the work that we're supposed to be doing, the work that we're elected to do, and we're looking at each other going, what's the plan out of this? And they don't have one, and it's kind of frustrating.
You folks in the House, you worked hard on this CR to make it a clean CR, no additional spending, no cuts, send it over to the Senate. Did you think this was going to be kind of a slam dunk? That because they already voted for it to begin with the one big, beautiful bill, right?
In 7 years in Congress, I have voted for 2 CRs. So my colleagues that are in the Republican conference that are less conservative than me have voted for 13 in the last 5 years. 13 CRs. So Republicans work with Democrats when we are not in control of the government to fund the government because it's wrong to play politics with shutdowns. It's wrong to play politics with our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines and Guardians pay and whether their families are going to be able to pay their mortgage and buy food. I mean, that's coming up in a week and a half. So they're playing with fire here, and they're going to get burned.
And they are, and even people like Massey, they're complaining that you guys have gone home, that Johnson sent you guys home. They want you to back to what, to renegotiate this thing? I don't think so.
Well, I'm in Washington. I'm working. I have a meeting tomorrow that is very important, and I'm not going to miss it. And, I'm doing my job. And, it's a district work week, but I had 100 meetings this week. I'm trying to not cancel as many of them as I can. So, I mean, the Democrats just need to come to their senses and understand that we're not going to give them $1.5 trillion for 7 weeks of government funding. At the end of the day, the appropriators just need to do their job. I've been in Congress 7 years, and they keep failing to do their job on time. And I don't know how else to tell them that this is a story I've seen before, and I know how it is. They got to stop playing these games.
So everybody, there's a lot of people out there that really don't understand how this works. So kind of explain this to us. Instead of having the appropriations bill that you're supposed to be passing, the 12, instead they get a continuing resolution. Are we ever going to get those appropriations bills passed?
So, well, we have to. The question is if they're going to be done one at a time, whether they're going to be done on time or whether they're going to be done in a large, what's referred to as omnibus or mini buses. And again, I vote against all of these things. We need to do these one-off to allow people to vote for individual policy priorities, and that's not how we do things. But, I mean, we have to fund the government. When we don't fund the government, we lose about $2 billion for every day that we are shut down. So we're, a week into the shutdown. I mean, we're $14 billion in, and yes, people are not getting, are not at work, and people have been temporarily furloughed. Some people have been permanently furloughed.
Yeah.
But again, this is all just chaos, and we need to do our job. We got to fund the government. I mean, at the very least, we have to fund the military. I mean, you got people that are deployed, 200,000 people are deployed away from their families, and they're expecting to be able to pay for their mortgage and put food on their family's table while they're gone because we had a deal. You join the military, we're going to deploy you, and we're going to pay you to deploy. And here they are doing their job, protecting their country. And in a couple of days, they're hoping to get paid, and they're going to be able to put food on their table and pay their mortgage. And that money's not coming if the Democrats don't come to their senses.
Exactly right. Some of those people are actually defending the country right here at home in places like Portland and in Chicago. These National Guard troops that are out there, they're not getting paid for what they're doing. Democrats just really holding up the works. Have you ever seen a group of people defend illegal immigrants as viciously as the Democrats?
Charlie, I think it's very important to understand what's going on right now. You've got the crazy progressive extremist Mamdani, who is about to become the mayor of New York. And
Right.
you got Chuck Schumer, New York. You got Hakeem Jeffries, New York. And they are terrified of the extreme left. And so they're trying to show the Democrats that they're also fighters, that they're also going to stand up. They're going to drive a hard bargain. But they don't even, it's not natural to them because they're not extremists. They're not crazy. But they're having to act crazy because they're having to placate the extreme left. And so that's what's going on right now. And this is all about New York City. It's all about the foothold the progressives have. And it's all about Mamdani. And I mean, it's sad, but these people need to grow a spine and stand up to their crazies.
We know that Washington, D.C. really got cleaned up when Trump sent the National Guard in there. Is it still clean? Is it still safe?
They're still here. It's wonderful.
Okay.
I mean, some of them have gone home, but D.C. is very clean. It's very safe. And it's remarkable. The crime rate went down 80%. 80% when we had people that were actually going to stand up to the criminals.
That's pretty amazing.
I mean, deterrence works.
Yeah.
Deterrence works. If you commit a crime in South Carolina, you're going to get arrested. You're going to go to jail. You're going to be brought to justice. In Washington, D.C., that wasn't the case until President Trump declared an emergency. And all of a sudden, all the criminals said, okay, we won't do that anymore. It's sad that the left doesn't see how this works.
Exactly right. It's that show of strength that is always so important. And the strength that President Trump did when he gave the ultimatum to Hamas, if there is a peace deal, and it looks like there will probably be one, do you believe that President Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize?
I mean, like 4 times over.
Yeah.
I mean, he's literally ended 7 wars in 9 months. I mean, technically, Pakistan and India were almost at nuclear war.
Yeah.
So he helped avoid that. So we're going to have all of our hostages home. We're going to have the remains of the hostages that are no longer alive home, and Hamas is going to be brought to, under our heel, and we're going to stop this nonsense.
Absolutely.
And it takes somebody that is willing to stand up to the evil in this world to do that. And, Netanyahu did everything he could, but it required leadership that, we've really never seen before. And the president is able to stand up and say, I'm not asking, I'm telling you. And you've seen it work time and time again. I can promise you that the end is near in Ukraine. We will have another peace deal there in the near future.
That would be amazing. Congressman William Timmons, always a pleasure, sir. We'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.
Be well. Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
When he's not mowing his yard, he's mowing down liberal nonsense. It's the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9
WORD, the voice of the Carolinas. Chat with Charlie.
800-905-0989. Save it on your phone.
This is the Charlie James Show, only on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Let's go to the WORD talk line. We'll talk to James in Lancaster. How you doing, James?
Hey, how are you? Love your show. I've been
Thank you,
watching
sir.
it for a long time.
Thank you, sir.
To it. Anyways, on the Obamacare issue, I'd like to take this to another level.
All right.
I'm 68 years old, and in combined, all of my health care expenses in 68 years have been less than $600. I've never spent one penny on health insurance, and I never will. And I think that this is the basic problem, is not subsidizing stuff, but incenting people to take care of their health, prevention. And now I know I'm lucky. I know there are people born with diabetes and can't get cancer and have congenital illnesses and car accidents, and I understand that perfectly. And I'm very lucky that I feel like a 20-year-old and I'm almost 70. However, I have done my part. I still have the same weight I had in my 20s.
Nice.
I take care of my diet, my sleep, my exercise. I do all the things that, that are recommended. And I go 20, 30 years without ever seeing a doctor for more than a checkup. And I just don't understand the mentality in our society that we aren't more preventive oriented.
That's
This is where it's got to be. If I had bought health insurance since I was 18 or 16 and started working, let's just say $400 or $500 a month, I would be out approximately $500,000.
Yep.
And the investment value of that, had I invested in the stock market, which is what I've done most of my life, that's an extra $2 million in the bank. Mortgage paid off, trips around the world, college education paid for your kids, all in cash. And, anybody can do this. I'm a nobody. And I've never made more than $25,000 a year. And I guess I've got the life.
There you go. Good for you, James. And you are not a nobody. We don't consider any listener of this show a nobody. I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you very much. It was absolutely right. We put no incentive in this country, or at least we used to not, but any incentive in this country on preventative care. And I'm talking about the care that you can take with yourself by exercising, eating right, making good decisions about your health. In fact, during COVID, what were they telling you to do? And I'll never forget that night on this program that I asked people, I said, when you got COVID and you went to the hospital, what did they tell you to do? Every single person said they told me to go home and come back when it got really bad. Oh, that's a heck of a plan you got there, Dr. Fauci. That's a heck of a plan. Yeah, go home, get bad, when you're, go spread it around and then come on back. They never told you to eat right, exercise, maintain a healthy body weight. They never did that. And we know that obesity was one of the biggest comorbidities there was. If you are obese and you got COVID, things probably didn't go too well for you. But they never, ever brought that up. And have you noticed, and this is starting to wane a little bit now, all of a sudden we have that whole body shaming and body positivity thing. And they were putting obese people on fitness magazines and all of that stuff. That's not a good model. That's not a good model for young people to be going after. There's a certain amount of responsibility that you have to have for yourself. And now how do they want to try to cure it? Eat right and exercise? No. Take a shot. Take a pill. Deplete your body of muscle mass. Risk stomach paralysis. Risk blindness. Risk tooth decay, which is all part of the whole Ozempic list of things that could happen to you if you take the drug. So they just want to keep you medicated. That's the direction of healthcare in this country. Do not prevent, Medicaid. That's all it was. Being dependent on the big pharmaceutical companies. Let's go to Jeff and Easley. Jeff, welcome. How you doing?
All right, man. I hate to change the subject, but I just want if you can answer a question for me.
All right.
This crap in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
These thugs are out there all, I don't know how many weeks now, night and day, the same ones. Explain to me how they're eating and paying their bills. I want to know how they're getting paid to do this.
These are paid agitators. We know that. There's an organization out there called, I think it's Crowds on the Go or Crowds on Demand. You can go in and they will hire people to come do things like that. But I think a lot of these people are being funded through the Antifa organization, and I'm not going to believe for a moment that Antifa isn't organized.
Well, that's my thing. Why haven't we investigated where this money's coming from? Because I know you and myself know where a lot of it's coming from, but anyway, I thought you could answer that for me.
Well, they are investigating George Soros. I appreciate it, Jeff. Trump has called for an investigation into RICO charges against people like George Soros who are funding these violent agitators out there. And we know that's happening. We know it's happening in Portland. I don't care what was a reporter from New York went to Portland, and he was trying to highlight that there was nothing going on in Portland. Oh, there's not. Well, he didn't go to where the trouble is. He went to the beautiful sycamore-lined streets of upscale Portland. He didn't go to where the ICE detention center was. There's no problem in Portland. I had some friends of mine that went to Chicago a couple of weeks ago, and they were like, we were in kind of the ritzy part of Chicago. There's no problem there. But that's not where the problem lies. If you go to Atlanta and you want to look for trouble, you don't go to West Paces Ferry. You don't go there. If you're looking for trouble in Greenville, you don't go to, Thornblade. You don't go to Chanticleer or anything like that. No. You go downtown to where the trouble is. Well, that's what they're hoodwinking you guys. They're trying to gaslight the people into thinking there's no problem. Trump's overreacting. And bring the National Guard back home. Well, we'll see how that works out. So a guy, speaking of that, there was a guy who he was voted for Biden, voted for Harris. He went to London. I'll tell you what he discovered when we get back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Streaming stimulating talk and breaking news on your phone 24/7 on the Odyssey app. You're on the drive with the Charlie James Show.
News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Hey, Charlie.
Let's talk.
It's the right talk.
Charlie.
Welcome. This is the Charlie James Show.
Now we're talking.
News Talk 98.9.
WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
Well, we're not the only nation with a problem with illegal aliens. A lot of nations are having problems with legal aliens as well. In fact, over in England, Ireland, Scotland, Sweden, France, Italy, they've all experienced, what is the saying? When you import the third world, you get the third world. You become the third world. Well, that's what's happening over in these countries right now, as well as here in the United States. We saw what happened, in Minnesota with all the Somalis there. We know that's a horrible situation. But for some reason, these liberals, even over in Europe, they are welcome, and they're punishing the average people. If you go over to England and you get on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, and you just say something like, man, there sure were a lot of blanks, you name the country, out in the street today. Oh, man, I sure saw a lot of Pakistanis out in the street today. They will come knock on your door, and they will arrest you. I'm not even making that up. You can't, though, and Keir Starmer is like, oh, we've got freedom of speech. You don't have freedom of speech in England. It's kind of ironic that George Orwell's 1984 was written about London. A little irony there. And they are going headlong into it. In fact, they are releasing, this is no joke, they're releasing violent criminals from their prisons to make room for people that criticize illegal aliens being in their country. You can't do it. If somebody's offended, you go to jail. That's amazing. Well, there was an American, and I don't know who this guy is. He's got a little online presence, but he went over to England. He is a Biden-Harris voter. All right, voted for Joe Biden, voted for Kamala Harris. But he went over to England, and he had his eyes opened.
After this ride on the London Tube, I got a whole new perspective. One of the things as Americans, listen, obviously America, we're more polarized than we've been in years. Republicans hate Democrats, Democrats hate Republicans, everybody hates everybody. Everybody's on the extremes. Meanwhile, most of the people are, 80% of the people are in the middle and can't find a candidate they like. Say what you want about Trump. You all know I voted for Biden, I voted for Harris. I gotta be honest with you, I'm making the swing fast. There's a lot of things going on in the world, a lot of things that I'm seeing in Europe, a lot of things that I'm seeing in London. Strike up a nice conversation with a good guy in London. He's talking, he's like, listen, there's a lot of the British people, a lot of people in London, for all his shortcomings, they want Trump here because the crime is out of control, immigration is out of control. Say what you want. My Democratic friends, liberals, people on the left, listen, man, we're either gonna have laws or we're not. Break the law, go to jail. You want to play by the rules, you want to play by the laws, you should be good. If you don't, there should be consequences. And in London right now, every single person has told me, don't walk with your phone out. Don't wear a watch in Mayfair. Don't do it. Even right now, I'm about to turn a corner on the street. I got to worry about holding my phone because some moron might come by on an e-bike, try and grab it. Obviously, I'll run his ass down. You know this. But what's going on across the world is a real problem. The crime rates in these places are unnecessary. They're making our favorite big cities unsafe. It's pushing out good quality people. It's attracting bad quality people. And it is not a good quality of life for anybody. Low income, high income, black, white, purple, tall, fat, skinny, you know me, I don't care. Everybody should have a good quality of life. Everybody should be entitled to their safety. I also think everybody should have good education and healthcare. That's a separate conversation. But what's going on here, I just thought it was super interesting to have a conversation with a nice, level-headed, normal guy on the tube, or as we call it, the subway, where in that case, he was saying a lot of British people, again, for the issues that they have with Trump, they want him here.
They want him there. Everybody wants their version of Trump. Will it be Nigel Farage over in England? Oh, I hope so. I love that happy warrior. I think he's great. But these were the people that everybody was calling nuts. They're calling Nigel nuts. They were calling Raheem Kassam nuts. All of these conservatives over there, oh, they're crazy. But they're not. And you look at what the Democrats have allowed. Look at not only London, I mean, you go over to Ireland, you go over to Dublin. I'm so glad my wife and I visited England, Ireland, and Scotland when we did. Because I don't want to go over there right now. I don't. As much as I love it, I don't want to go there now. I don't want to see what's going on. D.C., my wife and I used to love to go to D.C. Used to love to go to Union Square. It was hopping. It was buzzing. All these political people there. It was amazing. The last time we went under Joe Biden, it was gloom and doom, and it was a dark, scary place. The same for every big city in this country. Every single one. It's going to get even worse under Mondami when he becomes the mayor of New York City. Chicago's a hellhole. Portland is a hellhole. All of these places. And all of this is because of radical leftist Democrat policies. And when somebody actually tries to do something about it and point out what's going on, that's when these Democrats, they get all up in arms. Oh, I can't believe you said, yeah. Oh, you can't believe it, huh? The people like it. The politicians hate it. But the people like it. There was a guy that, Don Lemon, I was going to play this clip, but I'll be honest with you, it would have taken a half hour to edit all the expletives out. But Don Lemon was in Chicago and is asking somebody about the crime rate there and getting rid of the illegal aliens. He was like, yeah, get them gone. And Don Lemon tried to change his mind. He's like, nope, get them gone. But don't they contribute to the economy? And he said the only reason they contribute to the economy is that they have taken the job that an American would love to do. And he's 100% right. When I tell you that the Democrats love crime, they're showing it every single day. How much the left loves criminals. They love criminals to the expense of the average law-abiding Americans. And you're the ones that they want to disarm. You're the ones that they want to make sure cannot protect yourself. They want to give all the rights to the criminals. They know it, and they know we know it. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
15 minutes of breaking news and stimulating talk begins every hour, every afternoon on The Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas. Interact on the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line.
800-905-0989. Text or call. One number does it all.
800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
All right, this whole shutdown, it's Democrat-driven. That's all it is. You can't put it any way else. We had everybody, all but one Republican, voted for keeping the government open with the clean CR that was passed by the House and went over to the Senate. 3 Democrats, well, 2.5, 2 Democrats, 1 independent, voted with the Republicans, and the Republicans need 7 more Democrats to cross over and open the government up again. But they're still keeping on with this BS that it's a Republican shutdown. It's not. Never waver on that. They're asking for $1.5 trillion in new spending, and some of that has to do with health care for illegal aliens. All right? So Chuck Schumer posted this. He said, no matter how many times Speaker Johnson keeps repeating his lie about health insurance and undocumented immigrants, it's a lie. It was a lie yesterday. It's a lie today. It will be a lie tomorrow. Democrats are fighting to lower the cost of health care for the American people because of a health care crisis that Republicans created. Well, let's take a look at that. Because you see, it's not. Now, you got to always watch their words. Always watch their words. They're always playing word games with you. They've been saying that no illegal alien has been receiving health care on the federal dole. No illegal alien. However, and now they kind of let this slip with the fact that they don't consider anybody that was paroled when they crossed the border. Remember, you cross the border, you come in contact with a Border Patrol agent, and you get an automatic parole and a court date. So in between the time that you crossed over illegally into the United States and you get your asylum hearing, they're considering you to be a legal resident or a legal visitor, however they want to put it. What do they call them? A newcomer. The newcomers. Remember that? They were pushing that out for a little while. They consider you to be here legally. That's why they get on and just bald-faced lie and say that no illegal alien is getting health care because they don't consider them illegal. But Chuck Schumer used the word insurance. You see, this isn't about insurance. This isn't about giving illegal aliens insurance, and he knows it. And he put that word in there on purpose. Okay? Now, when I go to the hospital, when I go to the doctor, I show them my insurance card, and they deal with my insurance company. These people don't do that. They come in and they say, I have no insurance. Okay, do you have any money? I have no money. Okay. Well, the American taxpayer will pay for your bill. That's been going on, and it's been going on for a long time. And they're denying that it is happening. But let's take a listen to this.
1 out of every 4 migrants that has come to Denver has come to Denver Health for health care, on average for about 2.5 visits. So we saw 20.
Wait a minute. Let's go back and hear that. Here we go.
1 out of every 4 migrants that has come to Denver has come to Denver Health for health care, on average for about 2.5 visits. So we saw 20,000 visits last year that we attribute to the migrant population. That's a lot of care that we weren't planning on giving.
Not planning for those people to come in, and as he mentioned, they're coming in for maybe routine care. It's a trend across the country. Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services says nationally in 2021, emergency services for someone who was undocumented patients, that totaled around $7 billion. The following year, $5.4 billion. And national statistics show that undocumented immigrants are less likely to have any type of insurance or.
Now, wait a minute. Let's go back and listen to that again because I find this is interesting. 2021, $7 billion in Medicaid costs for migrants. 2022, $5.4 billion.
Someone who was undocumented patients, that totaled around $7 billion. The following year, $5.4 billion. And national statistics show that undocumented immigrants are less likely to have any type of insurance or even pay up to 60%. The CEO of Denver Health says that she is unable to properly care for her properties, her buildings, as well as her patients.
We can't invest in the things that many other hospitals invest in.
During the cold spell, we just had a pipe burst and we had to take some beds out of operation. Had we been able to invest in that building, we might not have seen, that happen.
Natasha, when we speak to some of these officials at a number of hospitals, they tell us that it is almost at a breaking point. They have to get more funding from federal officials or they have to get more private donations. They simply cannot take care of the influx of people who are coming in for treatment.
But wait a minute. Hold on. That's not happening. According to the Democrats, none of that is happening. But it is happening. And they know it's happening. So Chuck Schumer got in front of the cameras today and tried to poke a little funny, tried to tell a little joke. Jon Stewart over at Comedy Central, he wasn't having it.
It's just not. But if you would stop there, that would be great. But you're going to keep talking, aren't you? Aren't you?
New data came out today from KFF, and that is not Kentucky Fried French fries. KFF could be Kentucky French fries. Yeah.
Hide your family.
I know, Orange.
Who is that joke even for? 6-year-olds that watch C-SPAN? What the are you doing? Chuck Schumer is a human flat tire.
That's exactly right.
Kentucky Fried French fries. I mean, look at.
I think he's exactly right. They have no sense of humor. He is a joke. He's not taking it seriously. This is a huge problem in this country, giving health care to people who are not citizens and sitting there the whole while denying that it's happening. Lots is going on with this, and they know it, and they're okay with it. So you got that. You've got the Obama care tax credits that were going on, the subsidies that were happening, that if you were a family of four in, I think was it Virginia? I can't remember. No, in Arizona, a family of four in Arizona, you can make up to $580,000 a year and still get subsidies. No, I'm sorry, $620,000 a year and get subsidies. If you're a family of two in Vermont and make $580,000 a year, you get Obama subsidies. If you're a single guy in Vermont and you make $180,000 a year, you're still eligible for these subsidies from Obamacare. Even the Washington Post has had to come out with a story saying that Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, is anything but affordable. It is costing the American taxpayers buku dinero to go along with the sombrero theme. But the Democrats, they want to throw, as my grandfather used to say, they want to throw good money after bad instead of just doing away with it. They're the reason that that we have a health care crisis. They're the reason that indigent care for illegal aliens is causing your trip to the hospital, your trip to the emergency room to absolutely skyrocket. And they don't care about that. They never care about things like that. When we get back, looks like Rosie O'Donnell is applying for citizenship. We'll tell you about it. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
This is Mark Levin. Join me tonight at 7 following Charlie James for the Mark Levin Show, a News Talk 98.9 WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Charlie Speaks. You listen on your time. Get the show on demand. Text podcast to 800-905-0989. The Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
I saw a great meme. It wasn't a meme. It was a post that said that Democrats believe that guns are used for violence because that's what they use them for. Conservatives use guns for defense and protection because that's what we use them for. And they're absolutely right. So when I say that the Democrats are all about violence, it's because they want to be violent. They want things like this to happen. Judge Diane Goodstein's house burned down on Saturday. She had a house down in Edisto. It caught fire, burned down. There were reports initially that the house just went up. Some folks were saying, oh, it must have been a bomb. Must have been a bomb. Then Nicole Wallace got over on MSNBC and said this.
When we come back, what we're learning about the fire that destroyed the home of a South Carolina Circuit Court judge who faced criticism from Trump officials after a ruling she made against the Trump administration. It comes amid a surge in hostility and threats against judges, as well as criticism directly from the Trump administration, including for Judge Goodstein.
So what is she saying there? What is Nicole Wallace over at MSNBC saying? This is done by one of the MAGA crowd. Obviously, this was arson. Obviously, some of Trump's supporters took his initiative and burned this judge's house down. We'll continue with this.
After she temporarily blocked the Justice Department from accessing the files of millions of registered voters in South Carolina. Mary McCord is still with us. Mary, what questions do you have based on what we're hearing so far?
You know, this is the kind, again, we've talked today already about crossing Rubicons, right? And when you're starting to attack judges because of their rulings, we're in a very, very dangerous position.
Now, wait a minute. Gotta kind of put the brakes on your little comment there, because wasn't there an assassination attempt against a Supreme Court justice recently? And didn't that person who identifies, he's a man, who identifies as being a woman, got a light sentence because he identifies as a woman? 8 years, that's all you get in jail, in prison, because you want to assassinate a Supreme Court justice? Weren't they the ones that were protesting outside wasn't it Chuck Schumer who said, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, you reap the wind, now you'll feel the whirlwind, or however he put it. A very threatening comment from Chuck Schumer. And then these guys go out and do it. Weren't they protesting in front of the Supreme Court justices' homes in the Roe v. Wade decision? Of course they were. And that was a violation. And none of them went to jail. That's the thing. None of those people went to jail, and it all violated federal law. Because Merrick Garland was heading up the DOJ, nothing happened. Nothing. Well, this guy was found with implements in his car to do and carry out the assassination of Justice Kavanaugh, and he got 8 years. Let's continue with MSNBC.
In this country, and it makes judges fearful. It makes prosecutors fearful, as we know. It makes others in positions where they could be criticized by Donald Trump fearful, and he needs to know the power of his voice.
So, see, they're putting this blame on Donald Trump. Well, MSNBC is they got a lot of pressure on them right now because people are demanding that Nicole Wallace be removed from MSNBC because, according to SLED, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, in a statement that they put out, at this time, there is no evidence to indicate the fire was intentionally set. The investigation into the fire is still active and ongoing. SLED agents have preliminarily found there is no evidence to support a pre-fire explosion. But they're going along with this like one of us did it. Like one of us got in the car and drove down to Edisto and set this woman's house on fire. That's the narrative that they're pushing because that's what they would do. That's exactly what they would do. In fact, that's what they tried to do with Justice Kavanaugh. So when I tell you the left is the most violent among us, that's exactly what I mean. And then we go to, they shot President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. There was another assassination attempt against him down in Florida. They assassinated Charlie Kirk. And then they've got one of their people that was threatening to kill a Republican legislator, and they're defending him. Jay Jones, a former member of Virginia's House of Delegates, who is now running for Attorney General, this is from Life News, running for Attorney General as a Democrat, commented to a colleague on his desire to murder former Speaker of the Virginia House, Todd Gilbert, a Republican, and even see his children killed. In 2022, Jones accidentally texted Republican House Delegate Kerry Coyer, deriding Gilbert for honoring the late state legislator and Democrat Joe Johnston, Jr., referring to Gilbert and other Republicans eulogizing Johnston. Jones equipped, "If those guys die before me, I will go to their funerals and urinate on their graves." My word, not his. 3 people, 2 bullets. Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. Spoiler, put Gilbert in a crew with 2 of the worst people you know, and he receives both bullets every time. Coyne said, "Please stop. It really bothers me when you talk about hurting people like that." But he went on and on and on. And you've got Democrats out there defending him. Defending him. Well, why wouldn't they? They defended Luigi Mangione, the guy who murdered the United Healthcare CEO, shot him down like a dog in the streets. They defended Albrego Garcia, a drug trafficking, human trafficking wife beater. They defended him. Have they ever met a criminal that they didn't defend? And now they're coming out defending this guy. That's disturbing stuff. That really is. But why not? These were the same people that were saying this. You had a teacher that was saying in a school, she was showing the shooting of Charlie Kirk over and over again, and she said, "I got to admit, he was a good shot." These were the people that were celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk. They were the people celebrating the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. One person texted, "For the last time, learn to shoot." I remember that woman up in Maine, the owner of the Fishnet Cafe, the woman that was riding around with a bumper sticker that said, "Make assassinations great again." Yeah, absolutely. The Democrats, they're the violent ones. They try to push it off on us, but we know the truth. We'll be right back. It's the Charlie James Show. News Talk 98.9 WRD, the voice of the Carolinas.
When the left spins, Charlie sets it straight. It's the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9
WORD, the voice of the Carolinas.
Let your fingers do the talking.
Text the Common Sense Retirement Planning text line at 800-905-0989.
This is the Charlie James Show on News Talk 98.9 WORD.
The voice of the Carolinas.
And now we've got another one. Well, we've got another couple. A federal grand jury has charged 2 out-of-state men in Atlanta, 2 out-of-state men with knowingly transmitting threats to injure a U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Immigration and Customs Enforcement officer and his wife. Federal agents deserve to perform their duties free of harassment from keyboard warriors and agitators, said U.S. Attorney Theodore Hertzberg. Threatening law enforcement officers and their families is not only illegal, it's disgusting. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, the charges and other information presented to the court, Frank Andrew Watsett allegedly posted a video on Instagram that identified and displayed photographs of an ICE deportation officer who resides and works in the Northern District of Georgia. With those images on the screen, he said, he's an ICE agent. This is him unmasked, so go ahead and make him famous. And if you see this blank, go out in public. Give him the cell block 1 treatment. You know, catch him when he's alone. Antonio Patrick Nocho posted a comment on Instagram under the picture of the same officer saying, anybody want to test sights on their new AR? There's a pretty good target right there. See? They're the ones. They're the violent ones. They're the violent ones. No wonder Rosie O'Donnell is leaving America. No wonder she's actually... Rosie O'Donnell, it's got to be a sad day in Ireland. 'Twas a sad day in Ireland when Rosie O'Donnell became a citizen. We used to be such a fine, lovely country, and now we've got that Rosie O'Donnell as one of our own. I can't believe it. What a horrible thing for Ireland. Rosie O'Donnell, and I don't know if she's giving up her American citizenship, but I believe that if you become a citizen of another country, you should have to renounce your U.S. citizenship. That's what now wait until Rosie O'Donnell realizes, because she hadn't been over there that long, that not only is she going to have to pay exorbitant taxes in Ireland on her income, she's going to have to pay taxes in the United States as well. That ought to hurt her good. But it doesn't matter to her. She doesn't care. She was so mad at Trump that she is over there eating fish and chips and drinking Guinness all day long. And she even blamed Trump for making her fat. Okay. Rosie, we've got the videos from the 80s, Toots. We know you've been approaching maximum density for a long time, okay? So, definitely self-induced there, JJ. So, she's applied for citizenship to Ireland. Hope she gets it. Hope she gets it. Welcome to Ireland, Miss O'Donnell. I'm sure you'll be a wonderful addition to our fine country. But anyway, there you go. So, we got another problem in this country, and it's young men. And it just seems like young men have been the target of a lot of things. They are absolutely lambasted with porn. They're lambasted with radical ideology. They're lambasted with, well, they're part of the problem because they're male. And especially if you're a white male, young white male in this country, we've got people in our society that consider you, like I said, part of the problem. So they've been looking elsewhere for companionship. And they're looking at AI, artificial intelligence. This is an unbelievable story. There are actually sites out there where you can go get an AI girlfriend and you can text her and she'll text you back. Not only will she text you back, she'll send you pictures of herself, if you know what I mean. And these young men are having relationships, so to speak, with artificial intelligence. Now, it was bad enough that they were sitting alone or wherever in their parents' basement, spending all of their time on video games. Now they become so disillusioned because, again, I mean, if you look at the people that they're around all the time, you look at the ideology, the radical feminist ideology out there, you are part of the problem. You're the bad guy. They've been slammed since the day they were born. And I think a lot of these guys are just coming to realize, look, I don't want all of this. I don't want to have to put up on all this. So they're turning to artificial intelligence to try to at least have some sort of a relationship, and I don't think that's going to work out very well at all. Because we have made these people into antisocial individuals. Because our society is turned against them. We don't celebrate young men in this country. Oh, we celebrate young women all the time. But we don't celebrate young men. They certainly don't have role models. Let's go to Dan in Boiling Springs. Dan, welcome.
Charlie, the whole thing that's happening right now, well, and we see our nation and our society just crumbling. And you look at these young people, we've been given so much money and blessings in our life. They haven't worked for anything. And a lot of us, we were given stuff from our parents. And it's, well, you can start fussing about this and that, but the reality is, I mean, there's not a simple answer. But the richer our nation became, the more spoiled our children became. I'm spoiled. And I think there's a lot of us that are spoiled, and we just passed it down to our kids. And no, we've lost virtue.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
And
we lost virtue. We lost work ethic. We lost relationships. I appreciate it, Dan. Exactly right. But this all comes from the blame someone else mentality that we've had. Now, what is the saying? Hard times produce strong men. Strong men produce good times. Good times produce weak men. Weak men create hard times. We are now in that fourth turning where weak men are creating hard times in this country. We're going to need strong young men like the Charlie Kirks of this world to start rising up. And I mean the real ones, not some of the fake ones you've been seeing around here. And I think you know what I'm talking about. But I got about a minute. Let's go to Richard in Dallas. Richard, how you doing?
Good, man. Listen, the government shutdown, Charlie, has it affected you yet? Please,
no, I checked today, and it has not. No.
Okay. Listen, most Americans are just rolling right along. You know, the military, you know, we got to be concerned about their pay. But everywhere I've been, nothing's changed. So why is such a big deal for the government to stay shut down?
Well, that's
Do you have
it.
an explanation?
The military's not getting paid.
I understand that, but
air
other
traffic
than that,
control.
So the government needs to stay shut down forever.
Forever. I don't know if we could do. I appreciate it, man. I'm pretty sure I'd like a road built here or there. Definitely. All right, folks. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. As always, we love you. God bless. Buckle up. Bye, y'all.